Let's get started. Welcome everyone to the October 13 TBCC Board of Education meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order and acknowledge any guests. We don't have any business in the room. And we have Luann online. Okay, let's move right into approval of the agenda. Has everybody had a chance to review the agenda?
Yes.
I have not because I'm trying to figure out diligent.
Okay, that's a good reason.
I haven't either, but that's okay.
Okay,
I know, I'm just still working out the bugs of email.
that's okay, but also Lori printed it for us, so.
Yes, so
it should
there
be
we go.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, if we don't have any questions or if we're satisfied with the agenda, how about, were people able to review this September 8th meeting minutes?
I was.
Any questions or corrections to the September 8th meeting minutes? Hearing none, we'll move right into the personnel report with Kylie.
It's a long one. We have the Vice President, Student Learning and Academic Affairs position that the hiring panel went through all 43 application packets.
Wow.
And so they picked the top 6 and I emailed them on Friday and all 6 have replied, confirmed for Zoom interviews next week.
That's great.
So looking forward to that. That's it.
Terrific. Okay, well, thanks to everyone who participated in that. 40 applicants is a lot to process.
Some of these application packets are multiple pages with one thing.
All right. Well, then, if that's all for the personnel report, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I move we approve the consent agenda and presented.
I said, yes.
Right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussions? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, aye, motion passes. Thank you. Now we have an opportunity for invitation for public comment available at the beginning of the meeting. Is an opportunity for the public to comment on any issue within the jurisdiction of the board. Do we have anyone who'd like to make any public comment tonight? Hearing none, we'll move right into new business and start with Erin McCarley and mission fulfillment. Straight on. It's been
Get my act together here.
It's actually a documentary. Sorry. Can we send the document in the chat? That's it. She's got it. Great. Then the placemat is for everybody to look at. So a couple of pieces, then if you could open the PowerPoint, which is on the desktop. So a couple of pieces. I'm going to walk through a PowerPoint presentation, but you should have in Diligent what we call the placemat, which is usually the size of a placemat, 11 by 17. And maybe if you, well, and I'll show the placemat here in a second. So you'll get the impact, the power and impact and scope of the placemat. feel its power here in a second. Awesome. Didn't realize I was so soon on the agenda. So I get for not being quick about.
So while you gather yourself,
Yes.
I just like to mention to Cheryl that we could probably use a training session maybe before the next board meeting on Diligent, because I think all or most of us are struggling with it.
Like what it is.
Thank you so much. I would love that. Thank you, Mary Faith.
You're welcome.
Well, and we actually were going to talk about, if Paul remembers, seeing if you guys want to do a work session before a board meeting to exclusively go through Diligent, like some consolidated time.
Yes, please.
Do you
Because
guys
when
want-
Erin, yes, please, because when Erin just said, oh, you'll have your placemat in Diligent, I thought, I bet none of us have seen that.
So I also sent you the PDF packet to the old way we do it, so I send you the PDF, but then you also, so we're like in a
We're going to do
crossover.
both for a while. I think
Yeah.
our goal is to have this bridge time where we're doing both while you can have a printed packet and work on our way.
Excuse me, you're saying, Lori, you did send it out PDF and I haven't found it, like the agenda? I don't see it.
Sent
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, or first part of last Monday.
Oopsie, I just found it. Excuse me. I'm very sorry. Excuse me. I look back. Yeah.
No, you're fine. I hadn't seen it either, Betsy, so we're in that together.
I'm sorry.
Oh, go for it.
So do you want to, before the November board meeting, do a work session? Is that a good time or? Is that what you wanted?
It might be.
If you wanted to bring your new tablets, we can get them set up with shortcuts and everything for you, so to make it easier to get to. You don't have to remember the link every time.
That is a great idea. So during the meeting, let's all check our calendars and let you know if November works.
Sounds good.
And we'll go back to Erin now.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah.
No, it's great. 3 minutes in. So what I wanted to talk with you all about today was what we call mission fulfillment. And mission fulfillment is simply how we how we assess whether we're fulfilling the mission of the college, right? And so let's start with thinking about our strategic plan. And for those of you who have been around for a while, I've been around for a while, not as long as Michael's been around, but or Pat's been around, but some of you've been around for a while. We've seen our strategic plan, right? And that's what this first page demonstrates, right? And so the strategic plan includes our mission and our vision. Our mission, TBCC, serves our diverse community equitably through educational excellence, community collaboration, and opportunities for lifelong learning. That's a great, it's more than a tagline, right? That's our mission, but we want to make that more concrete. And what mission fulfillment helps us to do is to really take that broad mission and give us a way to measure our progress towards meeting that mission. So specifically within our strategic plan, we have strategic priorities, and we have 5 strategic priorities. And then we've set objectives, which are how we're going to assess our progress towards those priorities. And then initiatives. And initiatives are broad like chunks of work that we do that take multiple years and cut across multiple departments. Pieces of work that help us to meet those big priorities. I will, it's not on the schedule, but I'm looking at Lori for this. I'll probably be coming back to you all in November or December to talk about kind of a slight rework of our strategic plan, because as leadership team, we've been talking about our initiatives. And are there initiatives, big pieces of work that we've done here at the college that maybe we want to move off of our strategic plan? Because strategic plans, everybody always describes them as living documents, which is just kind of a phrase that cannot mean a whole lot, right? Because you use it a lot, it doesn't mean much. But ours is a living document in that when we complete work within these initiatives, we move those initiatives off the strategic plan, and then we think about, well, what's the work we want to do now to help us to achieve those priorities. And we've been having those conversations within leadership. And so our strategic plan is changing. Now, our priorities aren't changing, the mission, the vision aren't changing, our values aren't changing, but our initiatives and the projects, the work that we're doing to achieve those initiatives are shifting somewhat. And you'll see that those initiatives, that work aligns with rural guided pathways. So I'll come back in November or December to talk a little bit about that. So this is all well and good, and it's a beautiful image, right? But how do we measure it, right? How do we measure our progress? Next slide. Please, if we move. Beautiful. Well, we measure mission fulfillment in a very specific way. This might not sound specific, but as we work through it, it'll make more sense. We define mission fulfillment as achieving or minimally achieving 70% of our indicators or metrics, right? And we'll be looking at those metrics here in a few minutes. And so for each of our metrics, we've set a threshold. We've said that we'll have achieved that metric or that indicator if we're in the green, and we defined that really specifically with through the collaboration of a data work group that got together a few years ago that said, you know, based on what we know about that metric, here's what achieved or strong performance will look like, or minimally achieved, this is adequate performance, or we've not achieved or we've shown poor performance in that metric. And so we've set thresholds for each of those. I think there are, actually, I think there are 9 metrics in our strategic, that assess our strategic plan. And so we say we've achieved mission fulfillment if we're in the green or the yellow for 70% of those indicators. Yeah, show my favorite diagram. Always gotta have the triangle. Now, the reason I show this is what we're talking about when we talk about demonstrating mission fulfillment is we're talking about institutional effectiveness. How do we demonstrate that we as a college are effective in assessing our mission, right? In meeting our mission. We do that not just at the highest level of the college, and by highest level, I mean not just at the strategic level of the college, but we're also doing that, and we're not going to talk about this today, but those of you who were on the board last year, we spent a lot of time talking about what we called SAOs, right? We talked about the assessment that we do, the measurement that we do within each of the teams at the college, within each of our service areas. And so Joanne Critelli, for example, came and talked about how she measures performance, sets goals and measures performance for herself for her work. Within community education and the truck driving program, for example, right? So that's work that happens at this operational level of the college. We're not going to talk about that today. We're really talking about assessment that happens at the highest level of the college or at that strategic level. Boom, that's what that is. Getting fancy here. Next slide. All right, so this is what we call the placemat. It doesn't need to be 11 by 17 anymore. There was a time when it needed to be. I think in our last strategic plan, we had, I don't even remember, Rhoda, like
That was 28.
28 metrics. Yeah, my life was a little challenging then. But now we don't have 28 metrics. Thank goodness, we don't have that many metrics. We have many fewer metrics. So for this year, the academic year 24-25, we run on an academic year, no surprise there. We achieved a 87.5 mission fulfillment rate, meaning we were in the green or yellow for 87.5% of our metrics. And you can see that these are each of our metrics. I don't think I'm going to talk about because I could be here for a long time, and you're going to get plenty of me over the course of the year. Everybody knows that. We're not going to talk about all of the metrics today, but I'm going to talk about a few of them that I think are important and I think are interesting. Hopefully, are interesting. You're the judge of that. But I'm going to talk about a few of the metrics tonight. The first is next slide. Talk about conversion rate. I didn't want to talk about. I only wanted to talk about those that were in the green and yellow. I didn't want to talk about one that was in the red where we didn't meet our threshold, but that's cheating. Technical term, but it really is cheating to just talk about where our performance is strong. So conversion rate, and we spoke about this last year for those of you who are here. I believe at was it the year before we talked about SAOs at every board meeting, and then last year we talked about metrics at every board meeting. And so it was probably a year ago at this very board meeting, we talked about conversion rate, right? And Ron New came and talked to you about conversion rate, which is the percentage of students who apply to the college who were then actually enrolled after the first week, right? So they complete the application, and this is credit students who complete the application online or in person, I suppose, complete the application who are then actually enrolled to the college. And for those of you who were here, you recall we had a conversation about the challenges with that process, it doesn't sound challenging, right? But you'll notice a few things here. Over the course of the last few years, we've had an increase in the number of applicants, right? A pretty dramatic increase in the last couple of years. Anybody who was here remember explanations for the increase in that number of applicants? Jump in, yes?
This would probably be, financial aid bots.
Yes, yeah. Fake applications, right? Yeah, so we're getting hit, like every college is, with financial aid bots, right? Who are completing applications that are not real people, right? So that's a piece of this. Actually, also real people who are not real applicants. That's increasing this number pretty dramatically. And we know that they're not real people because a part of our process in enrolling students, they apply, and then a part of the process in enrolling them is our coaches or Ron, our registrar, having conversations with everyone of having to verify the identity of every one of those people. And oftentimes having to get on a Zoom call and try to look that person in the face and see their, show me your ID. And sometimes they don't want to show you their ID, and it's, so that process has gotten really much more challenging and much more time intensive. And so as the number of applications has increased, you notice our enrollment has increased as well, but notice that, like, that's a good sign. We've got more students coming in. We love that part. But the conversion rate has dropped, right? So ultimately, this is a product of the challenge in fake applications, right? Doesn't have to do really with our process. Our processes have tightened up quite a bit. Rhoda knows more about that than I do. It's really a challenge in the metric, right? And in the kind of larger context of the work. And so I have to think about, it may be that we want to, because we certainly want to, let me step back. We certainly want to look at, are there barriers that we as a college are putting up that are making it harder for students to walk in the door and become students, right? To enroll with us. We want to make that as easy as possible. Students says, you know what, I really want to come back to college. Great, what can we do to escort them in and make that as easy as possible? We want to measure that, right? We want to make that as easy as possible and to assess and define what are the barriers that we're putting in the way. This is clearly not getting that, right? This isn't assessing that. So we need to kind of go back to the drawing board and kind of figure out what's the metric that's going to help us to assess that.
So am I understanding correctly that when people apply, even if they're not real people, if it's a fraudulent application or if it's a bot, those applications are still counted in this metric?
Yeah. Yeah, they're counted
Is there a
in
way to
the
fix that?
denominator. Yeah. What's that?
Is there a way to fix that? Seems like they should come out if they're not real.
They do come out eventually. I mean, they're a part of the overall number of applications. And yeah, so one way to fix the metric might be to change when we count applications, right? So do we count the denominator later in the process, right? Do we count based on verified applications?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, it would be about Ron and I working on that part of the process, for sure. Yeah.
Because we do know, at some point, we know what we've discarded, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, and so the question is, do you wait until they're actually meeting with the coach? But the challenge with not counting them until then is, again, do we have a barrier before they could get?
Before they get,
the coach?
we want to
Is
be
that
able
an
to
issue?
catch that, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
but they do a lot of that. If they can't ever meet, even on Zoom with their ID or there are bunches that we lose. The good news is since we have that built into our process for always, we require students to meet with the coach, even on Zoom. We're not having as many issues with the fraud. It's taking up time to find it. We're not taking the financial hit like most of the colleges are. The classes that are filling, the students aren't real, things like that. So, but it is a huge time consumer for us to be through them.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great. The second measure, next one. The second measure is student belonging. If you look at our placemat. And based on conversations we had last year when I was here talking about student belonging, in the past, what we did is we measured student belonging with the survey that we gave to our new students in the first term that they were here, in the fall term that they were here. And then we measured them again in the spring term that they were here. And we matched those surveys and we said, gosh, what we really want to see is that students feel a stronger sense of belonging in the spring than they did in the fall. And it was really hard from a research perspective to get quality data. Because first, so few students would fill the survey, we could get so few students to fill the survey out in the fall. And then so few to fill it out in the spring, and then you had to match them, right? You had to get the right students to. And so in this last year, and we came and we had a great conversation here, which I remember distinctly. I don't know if y'all remember, because, you know, I talked to you a lot and we don't remember it, but it was very great for me to really think about. Eileen and I talked about it a lot. So what do we do, right? What we did instead of that pre-post assessment of student belonging is we gave the student belonging survey just in the spring, and we collected that data and just from our spring, our fall cohort. Did I say spring? I meant fall. We collected in the fall. And then we had conversations with our coaches about what students told us, about what students had told us belonging meant to them and what those scores looked like. And what I shared with the board members, because I've shared it with employees already, are a collection of all of the comments that students had shared with us. And so you have all those comments listed in front of you. They are amazing. I will share just a few of them up here for everybody else. College staff have helped me to feel that I belong on campus by always being kind, having a willingness to help me with anything school related and sometimes not school related, and showing a genuine interest in who I am as a student and a person. Excellent. Faculty has helped me feel that I belong in the classroom by ensuring that they pronounce my name correctly. That one. They know you by your first name, no matter how long you've been there. I felt the worst imposter syndrome when I first came to TBCC, feeling like I wasn't fit for college, but all of the faculty have been so welcoming and helpful. Well, I think it's good. By making me feel like a part of class and that my questions matter. They have made me feel so comfortable, even when I've been unsure of myself or my skills, since it's been such a long time. And so we took these, so like I say, we had conversations with coaches where we talked about these comments and really about all of the things that coaches were doing. And I guess I want to say and could do, but so much of what students talked about, coaches were doing to really help them, help students feel a sense of belonging. So those were really, I think, encouraging conversations. But then we took these comments and we shared them as a part of an all staff, because what I think Eileen and I took away from all of these comments was that student belonging is something that we all do. As you read through those comments, and I encourage you after the meeting to read through them, because maybe we all are looking for ways to feel good these days, and these comments will really help you to, I think, to feel really good about the work that we do here at the college. I took excerpts of some of the comments, shared that in an all staff meeting and shared them around the room, and then had different folks stand up. I thought it was pretty cool. I don't know. I had different folks stand up and read the comments for everybody to hear, and we kind of popcorned around the room so everybody could hear them. And it was really reassuring that, you know, no matter who you were, you could do these things, right? No matter who you were, you could know the names of students in the hallways. You could greet people with a smile. You could, you know, really be welcoming. And so much of what students felt as welcoming was simply being greeted and feeling like they were a part of the community. So yeah, so that's student belonging. Next one. I gotta move on because otherwise I may get one in here. Okay. So let's get quantitative. Now things get fun. So I think I'm just going to talk about just two metrics with you all. The first is fall-to-fall retention. Students don't earn a degree if they don't stick around. That's kind of a big duh. It's really important that we get them to stick around. And so fall to fall retention is the percentage of students who enroll with us in the fall term who are still enrolled or re-enrolled the following fall term, right? So they're still here, or, you know, maybe they weren't here in the winter and spring, but they come back the following fall, right? And so this is that percentage. And so when you look at the chart, that pretty blue line is TBCC. And we love the trend line here, it looks great. But we never know if we look great unless we compare ourselves with other colleges. And so an important piece of what we're always going to do is to compare ourselves with like colleges. And I won't go into the nerdy part of it, but what you'll see as we look at these kind of comparisons is we're going to compare ourselves with similar colleges. And when I say IPED's comparison rate, that means we're comparing ourselves with 6 other colleges who are similar in terms of size. They have similar number of students. They offer the same kind of degrees. They're in rural locations. Trying to think about other ways that they're similar to us. Oregon Coast and Clatsop Community College are included in that comparison, but then there are colleges from across the country included there as well. So they're like colleges, right? Because we want to know, how are we doing compared to our peers? And so we can see that for a few years, not so well. I mean, yeah, not so well, right? Our retention rate was below our peers. But this last couple of years, it's ticked up. Now that brown rate, which I'm noticing matches my new sweater pretty well. Did not plan that, but you know, do that in the future. That brown rate, we don't have data for these last 2 years because we get this from iPads and there's a delay in getting those data back from iPads. And so I don't know what happened here, right? It may be that our peers, their data may have ticked up as well. We don't know. We'll know in a few months. I'll get the data for here. I'll be really curious to see if their rates have ticked up as well. So, and this is for full-time students. And so if we look at the next slide, Cheryl, this is for part-time students. So rates are noticeably lower, right? Significantly lower. The similar pattern in that we were close to, you know, right at where our peers were, dropped noticeably. Noting that about 20% of our part-time students were earning a certificate or degree within 3 years for a while, right? But then that rate really popped up these last couple of years. Let's pause and take that in.
It's great. Do we know why?
It's really great. It's really great. Yeah.
Do we know why?
Well, a part of that is more students earning certificates, right? Because when you think about this is, oh, I'm sorry, this is retention. Sorry. Thank you. I got ahead of myself. I was thinking about the next chart. Which looks a little bit better too. Why better? Well, okay, one thing I will say is we have seen an uptick in fall to winter persistence. So our coaches are doing a great job keeping students around from fall to winter. And that helps, right? So we're engaging students earlier, right? And getting them engaged in the front end. I think that helps. I don't know.
Well,
What do
it's
you
good
think,
news.
Rhoda?
Well, I think you're saying a lot of the work they're doing around belonging is helping that because if students feel comfortable and they feel supported. If they're struggling and they trust us, they come to us for help. And so the more that we can get them to do that, the more that they'll stay.
And we did have, with the Title III grant, a redesign of student services. And the whole focus was to change the way we were advising. So it became very much more of an intrusive model of making sure we're checking in on a regular basis. And that started about 2021, 22. And so you can see that some of the work that the coaches have done and that student services has done to keep engaged is that we benefited from that investment.
That's great.
Next slide. I was jumping ahead. 3-year completion rate. So this is just for full-time students, right? Say right, I don't know that. You don't know that, I'm telling you that. This just includes first-time, full-time students, right? So this just includes, I don't want to say the best students, but it just includes students who, we can think about this cohort, this group of students, as students who are coming to the college in some ways with a lot of advantage and support, right? They're students who are, it's their first time in college, and they're coming full-time, right? In that first term. That's the group of students who are counted here. And this is the percentage who earned a certificate or degree within 3 years. Yeah. And again, same comparison, right? So comparing ourselves with the same colleges. That's the brown line, whatever color line that is across the top. And not as dissimilar slope as we saw with retention below that iPad's comparison rate, but ticking up this last couple of years. So for that first time, full-time cohort, about 32% earning a certificate or a degree in their in 3 years. Questions about that?
Karen, is that continuing to trend for us? I mean, this goes to 2020. Do we know if that's continuing to trend?
That's students who started in the fall of 2020,
Okay,
right? So
okay.
you gotta give them 3
23.
years.
Okay,
So that's as much as I know,
okay.
right? I can't know any further because we gotta give them 3 years
We
to
have
earn it.
4 years, yeah.
Yeah, so that's as recent as we've gotten, is a better way to say it. Yeah, I know it's 2020, fall of 2020 seems like a long time ago. But for 3-year outcomes, it takes a while. Yeah, so we're still feeling the impact of, I mean, that's pandemic. These are pandemic students, right?
Thank you, Pat. That makes it much more clear. Thank you very much for clarifying that.
Should have known that all the time I've spent here anyway.
What's that?
I should have known that all the time I've spent here anyway.
Next. The last measure really is not, in some ways, it's not a measure. But I did want to exclude our last priority area in the strategic plan is equity and inclusion. And I think I know that I spoke with the board last May about how do we measure equity and inclusion as a metric. And I talked with you about the challenges of establishing a measure there. And I think I concluded and we talked about that there's no easy measure. I didn't come up with a measure there. And so in the placemat, what I do instead is kind of summarize some of the high level work that we did to support and reiterate our values over the last year. And that's just what I highlight for you here. Is some of that important work that we did last year, and which includes the equity lens trainings that we held for y'all, which feels like a lot longer ago, but I think it was about a year ago. And we also trained the leadership team in the equity lens, and we did at least two equity lens trainings for employees, and we'll be doing more of those this year. And I see Paul and Britta and the leadership team continued to communicate our values in multiple ways, right? Bilingual statements that reaffirmed our equity statement, our commitment to privacy, to Oregon sanctuary status, to our students' FERPA rights, and that those were shared repeatedly through multiple channels with staff, with faculty, with students. That was really a part of really made those communications a part of the culture here, the way that we support students. And so that you'll see that in the placemat that I included that as kind of a narrative statement. Questions about any of that? It's a lot.
No.
All right,
Thank you, Erin.
you're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks, Aaron.
Okay, we'll go on to item 4B, the budget development timeline. Paul.
Thank you, Mary Faith. So each year we start around this time. It seems like we've just put the budget to bed, but it's time to start thinking about next year's budget already. I put together for you, just for information, our sort of tentative budget development timeline. I'll highlight a few things on here that I think are important for you. You'll notice that for the first few months, we're basically just gathering information that we need to have for budget development as we work our way through the budget development process. Things will be a little bit different this year. We do expect in February that the state will do a budget reallocation process based upon a revenue forecast that doesn't look promising. So we also will be looking at budget reallocation processes moving forward. We will be developing a -5, -10, and -15 budget scenario, just to kind of get a sense of what that's going to look like and when February session hits for us there. But in the big picture, the pieces that we do need to sort of stick to with a timeline is that in March, we need to set tuition and fees. That's a component of our revenue, right? We'll also know we would know our revenue. We do not put it this way. We do know currently what our revenue is from the state and projected from other local sources. The issue that we won't know until February, but we'll have an indication, I think, with the next forecast, revenue forecast that comes out in the middle of November. We don't know for sure where the state will land in terms of that budget reallocation process, right? What is that going to look like? So we'll set tuition and fees in March. We develop a proposed budget for 26-27 that we will present to the budget committee in April. And then that sort of starts the process of moving toward, hopefully in one meeting, they will approve that proposed budget. If not, we'll have to have a second budget meeting. We'll have a budget hearing at our board just prior to our board meeting in June. And hopefully at that point, the Board of Education will be able to adopt and formally adopt the 26-27 budget so that we can put that to bed there. So that's sort of the timeline there for that. Nothing really that different, as I mentioned, other than the budget reallocation that might happen at the state level. So if you have any questions, happy to address them. Don't anticipate a lot of activity in terms of new positions and things like that moving forward, but we'll complete an audit and begin developing.
Any questions for Paul? All right, thank you.
You're quite welcome.
You can move on to board goals for 2025-2026.
Thank you. We didn't have it for your packet because we didn't have it in time. So this is after we discussed the draft at the board retreat. We put together for you the draft of the board goals. I want to draw your attention to a couple things that we were going to adjust in here. If you look under goal 1 on the first page, 1B is an item that I've altered to show that the board will receive the required Oregon Governmental Ethics Commission public meetings law training that's required. And so we'll make sure that you all receive that.
Thank you.
The rest of those are all what we had before. As we work our way down to goal 5, I'll point you out to 5A and 5B. Are two changes basically to engage more with local school districts and the community. So 5A, strengthen awareness of TBCC resources among youth and families and participation of local schools and community organizations. How we do that, we can determine later, right, in terms of what we get you at those out in those schools or bring them here at events. And then 5B, increase TBCC's visibility and connection with Tillamook County through intentional community engagement, outreach, and collaboration. And again, we'll develop ideas that will be attending, different community events as we tend to do anyhow. For example, we had a couple of board members at the most recent YMCA event, whatever. So we'll look at ways to make that happen. Those are the changes that I've made for you. The rest of them are the same from our retreat.
Okay, thank you. Well, we all had a chance to consider these and talk about them at the retreat. Any questions, changes?
No, I like them. I like the new language for working with the schools.
Yes, I do too. Thank you. Welcome. All right, if we don't have anything on that, we can
Yeah,
move on.
I just
Oh,
quickly
go ahead.
want to say that there is a public meeting law training at the pre-conference session at the upcoming, yearly annual conference, which is the beginning of November. Does everybody know that?
No,
It's being led by OCCA. Karen Smith is leading it, and it's from 3 to 5 p.m. And
Thank
I
you.
know, I realize not everybody can go, but I am going and I'm really interested in attending that.
great. I think you shared it with us at the board retreat and
Okay.
but it maybe, oh, it didn't make it onto my calendar. So would you please send that out to us?
It's in person only, actually, and it's
Yeah,
at
it
the OCCA conference that is in Hood River, which
Right.
is
Or
the day before.
Yeah.
actual
they
conference.
Said Tuesday, November 5th, but Tuesday's the 4th.
I believe it's Wednesday, from 3 to 5 prior to the start of the conference, which officially starts at 6 o'clock, I believe, with dinner on Wednesday. So I think it actually is on the Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah, it's written by somebody at OCCA, but you're right. I think she says Tuesday, November 5th, but isn't that a Wednesday, November 5th?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the Wednesday.
And who among us is going to the conference in addition to Betsy?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, great.
Well, that would be a good point of clarification, because if it's Tuesday the 4th or Wednesday the 5th.
Yeah, Tuesday the 4th isn't that practical, but Wednesday the 5th.
Now,
It
now,
says
if,
Tuesday, November 5th.
when at the retreat, you had said something about maybe connecting with Karen to do.
And I'm still going to try to do
Yeah,
that.
and from some other boards in the county that have been looking at, every board needs to do that training now. And I know, like the board is looking to set something up. I'm wondering if we partner with someone or a couple of agencies and, you know, get everybody in one place and take care of it all at once. And somebody else is doing it already, because
We did that last spring, I think we did. You did that one, didn't you? Yeah. I think that my preference would be to try to get Karen Smith to do it. I suspect it would be a little bit more tolerable than the one you sent through. So I'll look into that. Yeah.
All right. Then if we don't have anything else on board goals, we can move on to board D, which is the 2510 participation in local decision-making. This is the first read.
Yes. Thank
I'm sorry to interrupt, but board goals is an action. item.
Oh, it is.
So thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. You're right. There it says in capital letters. Do we have a motion to approve the 2025-2026 board goals?
I so move to approve the 2025, 2026 board goals.
Thank you. A second. Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you, Luke. All right, now board policy 2510.
Thank you. So board policy 2510 is a policy that we don't currently have in our as an adopted policy for TBCC. It's basically participation in local decision making. It basically outlines the bodies that we have at the college, the official bodies that we have at the college that do participate in local decision making, obviously apart from the Board of Education as the ultimate decision maker. It calls out the leadership team, college council, and associate students of TBCC. And the only thing that I will draw your attention to is that the paragraph under that bulleted list that just says that except for any unforeseeable emergency situations, the Board of Education shall not take any action on matters subject to this policy until the appropriate constituent groups have been provided the opportunity to participate. So other than that, it's pretty standard. This is the first reading, so you all can take a look at this, and if there's anything that sticks out as things you might like to wordsmith, that's fine. It does refer to, it is an accreditation within an accreditation standard that we have a policy related to this. Not that we have a policy, but that we have processes in place related to this. And it also does follow Oregon statute.
Thank you. No questions at this time? Okay, we'll have the opportunity to review it before we talk about it again. So with that, we can move on to item 5A, the ASTBCC report. And I would like to greet our ASTBCC president. I hope and assume that you are Morgan Cooper, is that true?
Morgan, it's your turn.
Welcome.
Well, hi. We're up to the place in the agenda where we have the ASTBCC report. If you have any report on the activities of the student government, I know we're just kind of off to a start for the term, but.
And also, will you introduce yourself to us and let us know a little about you and your background and your course of study, et cetera?
Sure.
Thank you.
My name is Morgan Cooper, and I am the ASTBCC president. This is my first year, and I am in the nursing program. Really happy with that. But things about the ASTBCC, we're happy that we just elected 3 new people. We have Abraham now on our team, which is great. And we also have Carlos Cervantes, who teaches ESL here. It brings up room for opportunity, especially with our Latinx engagement, because I know both of them are really tapped into that community, and I really appreciate that. So moving forward, we're going to have our meetings in bilingual, Spanish and English.
Nice.
And we're also generally trying to focus on more student engagement. We don't have any clubs on campus, no student groups. And it's kind of our role as student government to help form that interest and form that energy.
That's great. Thank you. So you said it's your first year. Did you mean with the ASTBCC?
Yes,
Okay. But is this your second year at TBCC?
this is my second year on the council.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. Well, welcome. We're so glad to have you here. It means a lot to us when the ASTBCC reps are able to join us and talk about what you're doing. It really means a lot because we're, from the board perspective, we have kind of limited exposure to students, which is really why we're all here. So it means a lot when you're here, and thank you. Thanks for taking the time.
Oh, and a big project that we're working on is our cafe that is potentially going to be on campus, offering more food than just what's available at the pantry.
Nice.
Yeah.
I remember. Go ahead.
I was saying Morgan's also a tutor for us as well.
Yeah,
I still
we
do.
also.
Excellent.
And he's on my board for the.
And he's on your.
Scholarship.
Yeah. Hey, it's a busy guy.
Yeah.
Morgan, do I remember you saying something at last year's Mildred Davy? Okay, I was trying to, face with the name, like I was trying to remember where I met you. It was there. Yeah. Yeah, I remember that it was moving. Yeah. Any questions for Morgan? No. Hey, good job. That's right. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for being here, and thanks for your service. Okay. Well, then let's move on to Jason and the construction report.
Great, thank you. I'll start across the street at CIT, the Center for Industrial Technologies, making great progress on frontage improvements. So they're currently just finished the stormwater system. We're currently working on utilities, power, and sewer. They've started framing on the interior of the building, so we can start to see the classroom and offices and bathrooms. which is coming along really well. We're also working with the contractor on the exterior skin of the building. We did pour the footings for the front awning, so the building will have the same elements as the other buildings on campus. So we'll have the matching wood accents and copper awning on the front of the building, so that you can definitely tell it's part of TBCC. So a lot of activity there. And then on HEB, things are moving frantic, I guess is the right word. A lot going on. So if you've noticed, we paved our lots. So our main lot is now back open as of about 2 o'clock today. They also paved most of the HEB buildings lot and are in the middle of striping that. So the exterior improvements of the new project are coming together. Landscaping is about 90% done. They have a couple more beds to do. They're going to be hydro seeding some of the grass areas. So the exterior is shaping up on the inside. Tons and tons and tons of small things. Paint is currently underway. The event center is just getting its decorative ceilings installed. Wood paneling is being installed and remainder of the flooring. So there is some carpet in the building. The main corridor ceramic tile will be one of the last elements installed, which is scheduled to start next week. So a lot going on. Many little things. A couple behind the scene things is I did a little PowerPoint. Our furnishings are all in stock in a warehouse in Portland. So all our all our furnishings for the building. These are just a couple of screenshots of some of the office setups. If you just want to flip through. So this is our seats and our couches for the general corridor area. That'll be on the first floor and the second floor. An example of a standard office setup. We met with, the company that did this did full ergonomics. So the task chair, that's an electric up-down desk for ergonomics. So it'll be a really nice suite for each office, conference table setup and chairs. This will be the boardroom setup there on the left, and then this is a standard classroom setup on the right. And then another big project that's been underway is the branding. So we've been working on the building's branding from logos to wayfinding. This shows a couple of the logo layouts. One of my big goals was to make sure that when you walk in, you know exactly where you're at. So we've been working on a lot of colored logos, making great progress on that. That is a metal logo that's on the tile background as you enter the restrooms. And then we've been working on the wayfinding. So we have a kind of a neat system in the building for like nursing and EMT. There's a wayfinding element on the side of the door, which is done both in English and Spanish. And we also encompassed our colors. So classrooms are one color, nursing's one color, EMT's one color to kind of keep our color scheme going through the building. This is an example upstairs for administration. So a lot of that's been taking place. We released all of our branding for code compliance and logos, and that's all under production. So yeah, a lot going on. We are getting close. A lot is happening. Cheryl and our IT team is building out technology, furnishings, garbage cans, recycling cans, a lot of stuff. So we're super excited that we are now getting into the real work is just beginning. So we're excited to see it come along.
That's great.
If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them, but that would be my report.
Thank you. Any questions for Jason? How's the drainage in the plaza issue going?
It's moving forward.
Great.
We're working through it. We had an issue with our tank, the tank in the ground. But we're trying to make progress with the contractor. They did some investigating and repairs. And so we're hopeful that that might be one direction, but we're still working towards replacing one of the tanks to make sure that is leaking.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else for Jason?
Perfect. And we'd all look to her anytime. I know a lot of us got to go through for the board retreat, but every day there's something new to see.
Looking like home.
It's great. What's your estimated completion date?
Substantial completion date is set for November 7th.
Okay, right around the corner.
Yes, we have a meeting tomorrow to actually confirm that date. In my opinion, we're going to miss it, probably by, my guess is 2 weeks.
Okay.
So I think we'll still get the building in November, which will give us most of December to get it outfitted and set up.
Okay.
Which was always our plan.
Morgan, have you taken a tour?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you excited to go to school in there?
Yeah, it was $75,000 mannequin
Yeah.
practice thing.
See how many times you need.
Yeah, it seems like such a great facility.
And I also did the EMT program, so that's near and dear to my heart. So
Okay,
Great.
all right, thank you.
Yeah, kudos to Jason. You seem to be almost right on schedule. It's amazing. It's great.
Well, right now we're on schedule. Hope we're gonna try to hold to. I'll have a lot more info tomorrow.
We'll always be on schedule. The schedule may change.
Right. Always on the schedule. I don't know about everyone else's, but we're on.
All right, well, let's move on to interim CFO Dave Schultz and financial report.
Thank you. We're looking at the financials through the end of August, so we're 16.67% through the fiscal year. Just a handful of things to point out here. We received our first community college support fund payment, so you'll see that in from the state resources there. That payment came in throughout August. The property taxes you see there, just the trickle in that we'll see slowly. I corrected the tuition that was showing a negative on the previous one that was from dropped classes and stuff. So the tuition we see there and fees are from the community ed programs that don't fall on the regular terms. So nothing else of great significance to point out there. You'll see the interest drop a little bit as we spend out the funds for building and stuff. The expenses were slightly lower year over year at this point. All I have.
Okay.
We're early on. Nothing wildly exciting in there yet.
Okay. Any questions for Dave? All right, thank you. And the president's report.
Thank you. So a couple things. We had, since our last board meeting, we've had a board retreat, but we did have what we call Fall In Service Week from September 15th to the 19th. We did things a little bit differently here. Aaron organized with the help of a lot of other folks, more of a conference setting where we had general sessions in the morning for the first part of the morning, and then we transitioned into concurrent sessions that were put on by our employees that people could make a choice to go to something that was of interest to them. We had three big themes for the 3 days at the general sessions, one around transition, since there's a lot of those going on here with the moves and communication, and gave sort of a update of the college there. We talked about the big picture, talked about guided pathways work and sort of work that we have moving forward for the year. And then we spent the last day on employee engagement and organizational health. And I think that we got some pretty good feedback, I think, Aaron, didn't we, in terms of people really enjoying the format, some tweaking we can do to improve upon it, but it was really, I really enjoyed it a lot. And I think it was nice to see, we had more engagement, I think, than we've had in the past, which was really nice. Had new student orientation. I can't recall how many students participated, offhand, Rhoda. There were.
I don't, because some of them came during the day. The day time was optional. They could come and get help with like IT related things. And then we had the evening event. So I think there were like 63 students.
Yeah, it was a nice event. As usual, fall term's underway. Enrollments seem strong again. I think we're up this year relative to last year. Won't know for sure. Those numbers come in next week is when we'll hit the sort of fourth week when we know sort of the drop rates have settled. But people will be up several percent probably fall over fall. nursing program. The first cohort has had an 85%, over 85% first-time pass rate. I think I put over 100% overall, anticipating that one of them would have taken it and passed by now, but I can't remember if they did or not. But that's our goal, is to shoot for that. We have had a very good success for that, and these metrics are surpass what we need to have established by the Board of Nursing. So I feel really good about that. Second cohort's deep in clinicals. The third cohort is in their first term, probably had their first set of exams already, and I'm sure they're realizing that, wow, this is a lot of work right now, but feel really good about the nursing program. It dawned on me when we were talking about the HEB update, I should probably mention, I thought this was good place as any, not on here written, but we have started calling these buildings different names. And what has started this was that everybody refers to this as the main building. This really isn't the main building anymore. That'll be the main building from the standpoint of where you think is like first building you get to from the parking lot where the administration is and whatever. So we're engaging in a renaming process. We're referring to what used to be known as HEB as the Administration and Health Sciences Building, since that reflects what's in there. There will be a community center in there that is the community center space, the 4 rooms that we have there. This building will be referred to, since this is mostly teaching and learning, this will be student learning and supports in this building, and then CIT will remain CIT as Center for Industrial Technology, and PRI, the Partners for Rural Innovation, will remain as that. So we're going to settle in on these name designations. It's going to probably be forever. We'll be calling this Main and HEB, but we want to try to start with that. We need to do some, the reason that was important to settle in on this, we need to do some scheduling and programming and signage and wayfinding and all of that. So we went with functions as opposed to, naming after rivers or mountains or trees or people, things like that. So that's kind of what we went there. We had on September 26th, our second cultural appreciation event here in celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month. There were over 200 in attendance. We had cultural games and crafts. There was a live mariachi band. There was dancing. I even danced a little bit, which my wife reminded me there. She said, you have now danced with your coworkers as many times as you've danced with me. So I felt rather guilty about that one. So
You know what to do.
I know what to do now. Yes, exactly right. But she's put up with me. We had our 34th wedding anniversary the other day, so she's put up with me for now. She knows my dancing capabilities. We did have, it was just a really fun event. There was a lot of community engagement, met a lot of nice people, got to have some good conversations. We had 0 issues with it. I think it went off better than we all anticipated. So that felt.
That's truly outstanding. To get 200 people to come in this community to anything is truly remarkable. So bravo to everybody who worked on that. That's amazing.
We have some forces of nature that are embedded in the community that can make things happen. So yeah, it was really powerful. So I felt really good about that.
And I'm sure the tacos helped.
And tacos always help. Yeah. We had our board retreat. I thought we had some productive work there. I'm sincere when I say you all are the best. I feel very fortunate to have a board that's as dedicated and supportive as you are. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
We had, as you know, we're part of the Rural Guided Pathways Project. You all did meet our coach, Chris Wickstrom. He was here. He did an all-campus event with the community. He worked both with student services and faculty work groups independently. Met with the board for a little bit, participated with some work groups and facilitating some work with our team. So I thought that was a pretty productive visit as well. We look forward to that. Our team will be at our second institute at the end of the month, where we'll be focusing on identifying living wage career programs, careers and programs for this area. So that should be pretty informative. Look forward to updating you all on that. I did have OPC a little more than a week ago. Typical updates there. Most everybody's enrollments are up between 4 and 10%. So the system as a whole, it continues to rebound. We're still having transfer and developmental education issues within the state and are looking at ways to address these more systematically with our transfer partners, and also looking at other models for successful developmental education and basic skills education reform there. Most of the conversation was around fiscal challenges. This was right after legislative days, so there was a lot of conversation already, I think, in Salem at the Capitol around potential budget reductions. So that was sort of top of mind for everybody. Every single college is currently, except for TBCC, is currently in active reductions in force and layoffs to deal with budget issues even prior to the pending reallocation. So things are pretty challenging for the colleges as a whole.
Every other community college in Oregon?
Yes, correct.
Wow.
Yeah, yes, wow, that's what I said too. Wow. So their conversations aren't about whether they will or not, but how deep will they have to go? Yes, and it's going to impact all the colleges pretty substantially. OCCA board, we had OCCA board meeting. Betsy and I attended that. Pretty standard, nothing there. I was asked to and nominated and voted in to chair the diversity education, the DEI committee for OCCA. So I'm looking forward to that for the year. That should be pretty engaging work. So I'm looking forward to that. We had YMCA fundraiser. We had 16 TBCC folks present at that. So I think we had a pretty good turnout there for the Alice in Wonderland. I don't think anybody dressed up that our team.
But Katie, wasn't Katie?
Katie
Oh, Katie
did.
did,
And
yeah,
Joanne.
Katie and Joanne.
Joanne.
Katie and Joanne. Michelle.
That's right.
Yeah.
Michelle.
And Michelle, that's right.
Right.
Okay. I lied.
Michelle.
And
Michelle did.
And Michelle.
Michelle.
Lots of folks.
Michelle.
Michelle, I don't.
One that used
To
to
say, I can't recall. But it was quite fun. One of our partners, Nahalem Bay Health Clinic and Health Center and Pharmacy, they had their ribbon cutting of their facility up there. I know a few of you were at that. That's a phenomenal facility up there. So look forward to continuing to partner more with them. Observances. I failed to mention that today actually is Indigenous Peoples Day, so I think it's important to recognize that we certainly are on land that was once occupied by folks other than ourselves. So I think that's important to recognize. It is Domestic Violence Awareness Month for October. World Mental Health Day was a few days ago, so all very important things I think to keep in mind as we think about, where we are in this world and sort of our place in it. I think it's important to keep all of those things in mind. Some of us are a little bit more fortunate than others. So bear those in mind, please. Upcoming dates, Friday, Britta has her event of the year, Mildred Davies Scholarship Recognition, Friday, October 17th, 3:30 p.m. over at the Officer Mess Hall.
Correct.
Sold out.
Correct.
So should be good. Lots of fun there. Bond Oversight Committee, Monday, October 21st at 5 p.m. I think that I can't recall who was any of our board members that are no longer on the board. Were they part of the Bond Oversight Committee? Tamara was at one point. Can't recall. I think Mary is on that. I'm not sure. Can't recall.
Paul, it's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday. What did I say? Monday. Oops, sorry. Tuesday. Is it the 21st though?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Tuesday, the 21st.
5 o'clock?
Yep, 5 p.m.
Okay.
And it'll be in here, I believe. Yes.
Yeah. And my.
Yeah, and so you all certainly are welcome to attend that. We do have, as I mentioned, our second Rural Guided Pathways Institute in Louisville. We've had conversations. The travel here, even though we're looking at budget reduction strategies, the travel here is grant funded, so it's no impact to the general fund for the travel for this to participate in this institute. And then the next regular board meeting, regularly scheduled board meeting will be Monday, November 10th. same place, same time. A few kudos, you mentioned getting 200 people to show up. I would like to just, recognize Angelica Ortiz and Michael Olarte. Angelica, obviously, worked with us as our benefits navigator and is a good resource in the community for the Latinx community. Maiko teaches ESOL for us, and also strong in the community, and they have worked really hard. They worked really hard for a lot of outreach. We did not do much advertising at all. It was all, for obvious reasons, it was all pretty much word of mouth there. Lots of folks participated in that. The student services team, again, good new student orientation, felt that went really well again. They redesigned that a few years ago, so I think it's just continuing to improve each year. All the employees for fall conference was a good first try at something, and I think it went really well. And very glad to have Lori back for her amazing support for the president and the whole board. And that chairs my report.
Thank you. Well, to get 200 people to come to an event that you didn't advertise, that's outstanding.
Impressed before.
Yeah.
Wow.
I wrote a story talk.
And was
Issue too.
Yeah, parking.
and was planned really in about 2 weeks, right?
Yes,
They
it
really
was.
put it together in
Wow.
a short amount of time
Wow.
because we couldn't settle on a date. And
Uh-huh.
when we finally settled on a date, they really pulled it off, and it was really nice.
I was sorry I couldn't make it. I saw the pictures and it just looked like fun.
It was fun.
Yeah.
That's simple, but it was fun.
Great.
Played lots of games and did lots of dancing, and singing.
He may have said I cheated at bingo, but.
Rhoda may have won
Yeah.
easily too many times. So I checked check up her sleeve.
Try to blackout.
Hey, Lori, could I bother you to have some thank you cards that you just bring to our meeting? Because I wish we had a
Oh,
thank you
absolutely.
card right now that we could sign for Angelica.
Okay.
That's a great
That would be
idea.
great. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, any questions for Paul? Betsy?
I just have something I want to bring up.
Okay.
And again, it's about the OCCA, conference that's coming up, and this is an update of the words, and Paul pretty much handled what's going on in the OCCA. But looking at the conference, there's going to be what's called a Howard Cherry Awards. And Mary Faith, I don't know if you're aware of this, but you and I were nominated for Dedicated Service Awards.
I had no idea.
And I have no idea exactly what that entails. And it just says Betsy McMahon, Tillamook Bay Community College, 8 years, and Mary Faith Bell, Tillamook Bay Community College, 12 years. And there's only two other people, and they're both from Rogue Community College, Pat Fahey, 8 years, and Roger Stokes, 8 years. So I guess if you've been on 8 years or more, then you get recognized.
Fabulous. Well, that's very nice.
Paul, do you know anything about this?
You're each expected to give a 20-minute acceptance speech.
Oh my God, really?
No.
Betsy, I also
Forget that.
No, they're just recognition awards. They'll call out your name at the event. We'll have you obviously will be there, so you can walk up and they hand you a little something or other, and we'll have Pat go up and accept on Mary Faith's behalf if that works.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm excited.
That's very nice. Thank you,
Yeah,
Betsy.
that's wonderful. Yeah. Oh, and on that, I would like to carpool with somebody if anybody wants to talk about that. So
I'll get in touch with you.
thank you, Pat. That'd be great because you live in Rockaway. It'd be easier to connect maybe. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Betsy.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Well, we are on to board concerns, so that was timely, Betsy. Do we have any additional board concerns?
I would just like to say, Jason, in the new boardroom, will you please get these kind of chairs? Those kind of chairs. I spent a whole day sitting in those chairs and my back is still recovering.
Oh,
Already done.
oh, thank you.
I sat down tonight and went, oh, this is so much better. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Okay, so I said earlier that before we leave, we will look at our calendars and let folks know if we can have a training session on, is it Divergent?
Diligent.
Diligent, thank you. So can we look at our calendars for November 10 and see if we're available at 4?
And I wanted to say, while you're looking at your calendars, I sent you all to your personal email, the board. 2 short videos are about 7 minutes each, and they're put out by Diligent to introduce you to the board experience with Diligent. So you watch them into the training, probably.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Terrific.
Did you send those today?
While we were in the meeting.
Okay, I was
Yeah.
like, I hadn't seen them.
Very paid.
We were gonna do them at board retreat, but then we didn't, right?
Just phone them, is that okay?
Okay, great, thank you.
No, that I can use Diligent on any platform, right? I don't have
Yes,
to have.
it's web-based.
Great.
Romy, will
Happy
the
to
time
bring that back.
work for you?
Did you say 4 p.m.?
4 o'clock on the 10th.
I can do that.
Great, thank you. Marilyn? 4 o'clock on the 10th?
Yes, works for me.
Great, and Betsy?
Yeah, it's great. 4
Okay.
o'clock on the 10th. Yeah.
Yay. All right. Okay, well, if we don't have any other board member discussion items,
Mary Faith,
yes.
do you guys want to wait a minute? We could go get
I have
thank you
some thank you
cards.
in my
Just-
office if you'd like.
Oh,
Right
want to
after
stick
this.
around?
Yes.
Okay.
You want like TBCC thank you cards?
They're branded.
Other brand you have?
Oh, I don't have brand.
Great.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have brand. She gets brand. I think I want it. You want it? I keep talking, thank you cards.
That's that.
Great.
And
she
I have, you know,
Yeah.
dog dog or something.
Well, dogs. They
Bingo cards, yeah, that's what it is.
Could somebody sign my name too?
You should cover.
Okay, so we can, somebody can move to adjourn. We don't have to hold everybody else up for thank you cards. So do we have a motion to adjourn?
Before we adjourn, I just wanted to say, since we talked about it last time, that the Rockaway Beach Pelican is opening Friday.
Woo! Okay.
See y'all there.
That is great.
Next, do you have a boardroom?
Well, let's have school lunch one upstairs.
Work sessions.
Oh, that's exciting. I'm happy for you.
Michael, I'm out of town,
Yeah,
so
congratulations.
Yes. Oh,
it'll have
that's
to be
really
Sunday when I get back in town.
That's okay. Any day.
okay.
I might be here Friday. I don't care about you.
We'll look at calendars.
And I might be a bachelor on Friday even, so.
Woo. Watch out.
Michael, I don't go on dancing real basic.
Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
A second.
All
Everybody.
in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Faith.
I figured it must be closed. I saw the Cisco truck.
Oh, I'm so glad. Yeah.
Every single person at Rockaway Beach
I'm
is
so
happy.
glad. Yeah. Oh, that's fabulous.
What did we all do?
No problem.
I mean, I've been in there, but. yeah.
That is so
Years
good.
ago.
Yeah.
I've been at. Yeah.
This is how tight you can be.
Yeah, yeah.